James Keith Walton. A good problem solver will look at a problem and break it into smaller parts. See, quite often it's easier to solve a smaller problem than it is a larger problem. So you break the bigger problem into a bunch of smaller parts, and you solve those smaller parts, and then before you know it, you've got the bigger problem solved. This is a very common tactic in programming and in solving, various problems of the mathematical nature. This is the attitude, and this is the way I've approached societal problems. A lot of these problems are a lot of the issues in society have many facets. Well, I don't try to look at all the facets at once. I try to identify the facets that we can change relatively easily, or we can look at it and say, well, this is definitively wrong, and we can fix this. And that's the approach. Not trying to fix 100% of any given problem, but when it comes to issues like the media or the pharmaceutical companies, big business, a lot of these are actually issues that we can break into smaller pieces, look at them that way, and resolve them rather than doing nothing. Because this is what's happening right now, is people aren't doing anything. The pandemic has shown me that my government is all about politics, and that the politicians care more about making money and getting money and campaign contributions than they are about the American health. We recently started opening up a lot of states, even before they were really ready to do so, and suddenly we've seen a spike in the pandemic and the coronavirus all over the United States. People in other countries can't believe we opened up so fast. They're like, what are you thinking? And they're right. Now, I understand that people need money, that's for sure. We gotta pay rent, we need to buy food, that's basic stuff. But what our country is doing, what our government's done, is they said, oh, okay, we have a pandemic, we're gonna throw $3 trillion at it. And then we're gonna provide as little oversight for that as possible. At least that's the way it appears to me. And it seems like everybody's dividing up the pie, but they're really not helping those people who need the help the most. There's tens of millions of people out of work right now. And those people aren't at the top of the pie. They're not at the top of the list. They're not the big income people. They're the people on the bottom end. They're the people that are making $30,000, $40,000 a year, and they're out of work. During the financial meltdown of 2008, the housing bubble, we provided a lot of money to the banks. We bailed out the banks. What I suggest is we invest in Americans and bail us out. Now, there's a difference between an investment and a bailout. You invest in Americans and you won't have to bail us out. That's what I really meant to say. Invest in the citizen that needs it, and you won't have to bail them out. They'll be fine. It's been disappointing listening to the banks talk about this, that, and the other, and how they're hurting. Large hospitals, the large hospital groups taking money from the government and then still paying their CEOs $20 million in bonuses while they've laid off a lot of their staff. What I wish I would have heard, and I haven't heard this yet, would be one of the major banks, say JP Morgan or Citibank or Bank of America, come forward and say, okay, well, we sent an email to all of our investors telling them not to expect too much profit sharing this year, and that it's going to be very flat. But we've decided to, instead of making money this year because of the pandemic, we're going to provide assistance. We're going to provide forbearance. We're going to put things on hold for all those people that we've got loans to. See, these banks wouldn't even be in business right now. They wouldn't even exist if we hadn't bailed them out in 2008. So maybe it's time the businesses we helped in the past say, hey, okay, it's time to help the American people. That'd be a nice change, wouldn't it? You know, get them to help us. In the 1930s, there was massive unemployment in the Great Depression. The only thing that brought us out of that would have been World War II. A lot of the public works were helping, but World War II, we were able to gear up manufacturing, and a lot of the companies that exist today, like the Ford company and Chevrolet and people and companies like that, they got large contracts to build tanks, guns, things like that. That pulled them out of the Depression. So we need something similar to that from these companies to say to us now, okay, we're going to help you, and we're not going to worry about making a big profit margin or a profit margin this year. We're going to make sure we save the American, the small American. We're going to save the Americans that don't have a lot of money, because they're the ones that need help right